Hey Mazer, I'm Kelton Wagley and welcome to the Pridecast, the very first episode of our brand new podcast. This week we are hosting Ben Gubler and Seth Levitt. Both are juniors, both are very into science, engineering, and design, and both are very, very cool dudes. If you guys could introduce yourselves, let's start with you, Seth.
Hi Mazer, my name is Seth Levitt. I work a lot in computer-aided design. So just developing like structures to do certain things, and coding mainly.
All right, hey Mazer, this is Ben. I really like 3D design too, and I also really like to code and work with robotics and electronics.
And are you guys in any sort of extracurricular stuff here at Mazer?
I wrestle. That's pretty irrelevant though for here. And I'm also on the Science Olympiad team, and I did the science fair last year.
Awesome. If we could hear a little bit about the science fair, I heard you did a little bit of design work there, which translates over into today's episode. Could you give us a little background on what you did for the science fair last year?
Yeah. So I designed a microchip and a structure for an alternative form of suspension for cars. I named it radial suspension. Basically, what the microchip's job was to take in radio signals and take in directions and convert it into like two motors commands so that it can run that. And then the radial suspension is a form of suspension instead of just compressing on one dimension. It swings outward or rotates around the car's body in order to compensate for movement in the car.
And Ben, how about you? Are you doing any sort of extracurricular stuff here at Mazer?
Yeah, I'm on the Frisbee team, which is great, and also on the math team. Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys are very well-rounded, I'd say. I do want to get into... Ben, let's talk about you now for a sec. You're very entrepreneurially oriented. Is there something you'd like to say about that? You've entered a few contests, haven't you?
Yeah, a couple years ago, me and my cousin entered the Lassonde High School Entrepreneurs Challenge, and we won over $1,000 in prizes. That was pretty cool. I just love business, and I really like money.
And Seth, you've brought along a few projects yourself. I remember in 9th grade you made a taser glove.
Oh yeah, I brought that into biology. That was a good time. I'm currently working on version 2 of that. It's all being more condensed. I remember bringing that into Mr. Kreitzer's room and Vanya wanting to electrocute himself. That was a good time.
You heard it here first, folks. Taser glove V2.0 coming soon to a theater near you. Now, I've heard that there's a project you guys have been working on together. Would you like to explain what that is a little bit?
I think Ben.
Okay, so we're working on a group of Swarmbots, which are robots that work completely autonomously. So without external control and without a designated leader robot, they'll be able to work together and complete tasks and figure out the most effective ways to do things.
So Ben, these swarm robots sound a little based in science fiction. Seth, you want to tell us a little more maybe about where the name came from?
So they're named, we haven't decided on either botronids or utopians. So the botronid idea came from a game. One of the main characters, they're called Tyranids. They're a hive mind. So that's where the idea came from, because the robots are a hive mind. And the idea for the utopians came from the Socratic reading, actually, that I did half of, in which the people are all perfect and they're practically a hive mind. So basically the way that it works is it uses radio frequencies and it just electromagnetic waves via Wi-Fi and radio and a little bit of infrared, I believe we decided.
Yeah. So our bots are going to tell the distance between themselves by measuring the time it takes for a signal, Wi-Fi or radio, to pass between them. And using that in some trigonometry that we developed the formula ourselves, it'll be able to figure out a relative location for each bot, which it can then use to handle navigation and teamwork.
Is there a limit to how many of these robots could be potentially paired together?
Yeah. There is, as far as I'm aware, there is no limit. There just becomes more traffic in how fast they can process everything. So, I mean, potentially there could be unlimited. We just have to get better parts to process things faster.
Yeah, so when you see a swarm of billions of robots slowly enveloping the world...
I'm dead. It was Ben's doing, I promise.
Ben's the evil mastermind here.
Yeah.
It's true.
So it uses, like, law of cosines, shout out to Mr. Watabe, to turn the distances with the time it takes into a distance and angle, and then you have polar coordinates, shout out to Mr. Watabe, and then you can convert those polar coordinates down to just like a Cartesian plane.
What sort of tasks are these robots able to accomplish?
So right now they're mostly experimental. They'll probably be able to carry out tasks like searching for food or performing reconnaissance or...
So basically, yeah, so like searching for stuff.
Okay. And each individual robot is its own computing. There's nothing done through the cloud. It's all onboard processing.
Right. So the beauty of it is even if one robot were to be destroyed or removed or be out of power,
fall into a volcano,
all of the other robots could still function. And similarly, if you added a robot, it would be able to integrate with the hive mind seamlessly. And
how would you control these robots?
Just by accessing one of them, so you can then send out like a command to one, and it just ports down through all of the other ones.
So maybe you'd like pick a host robot through maybe an app on your phone.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. And then give it a task to complete.
Whichever one's closest or something.
Right.
Easy to pick. Yeah.
How many of these have you built?
As of right now, there are none that we built. All of the designs are done though.
All the designs are done.
Well, except for the code. The code's not done.
Well, so right now we have code that we have the trigonometry.
We have like the distance sensing as well as the updates, so you can update their code and they each update one another.
Right. So they can update based on their neighbor and like propagate the newest version of the code.
Yeah, so they can each compare then which one has like a newer version, like which one's the more evolved form, and whichever one is less, it gets deleted and gets like re-inhabited by the new version.
How big are they?
They're going to be about like 5 inches by 5 inches.
Awesome. Is the design inspired by maybe a bug, or what do they look like?
Kind of like turtles.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Like they always talk about doing turtles and coding. It's like full circle to see a robot turtle.
Yeah, like a little just round little things that move around.
When can we see an army of robot turtles hitting the shelves of your local Best Buy?
Well, so we actually have a plan. We're planning to submit them to actually the Google Science Fair, because we feel that there could be a lot of practical applications, such as reconnaissance, like perimeter monitoring, and
a lot of things that are currently done just by hand, like scouting out areas. It works really well if you scale them to fly. The larger you scale them, the more they can do.
Any word on price you guys are looking at? Like, how much does it cost to make one of these nanobot things?
So, first of all, you probably wouldn't buy one as a consumer, because I don't know what you would need, like, a bunch of robots.
Hey, man, I don't know about you, but if I could get a bunch of robots to, like, make me dinner every night, I would.
That sounds like a really complicated task.
How much would they cost?
So that's like in the future. But so cost has been an important factor in this.
Because they have to be cheap, because we have to make a lot of them.
And we're poor. So what we've been able to develop them by using by shopping strategically and using low priced components. We've been able to find
they're like $15 a piece, right?
Yeah, $15 or $20 a piece to make, which is actually really good because we don't need many other components. The robots are fairly standalone. All we need is a charging dock, which we can build ourselves.
Awesome. Is there anything you'd like to tell your fellow scientific Mazerites?
Feel free to donate. Money.
Smooth. All right. Seth, how about you?
I don't have anything to say. Maybe join the wrestling team? That'd be nice.
Shameless plug. Both of you two. Entrepreneurs right here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thanks for joining us on this first episode of the Pridecast. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week, Mazer.